everyone, and welcome to Macy's Jessy show. It's been a while, hasn't it? Sorry about that. And you know what? It was finally midterm break, and I was like, time to get back on track. So here I am, and I missed you all so much. I missed posting, I missed videoing, I missed all of it, and I'm really happy to be back. So, as I was supposed to at the start of the video, but I haven't yet, today's topic is when we don't understand. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let's just look at daily life. When we don't understand, what do? We ask why. Sometimes we get angry. Other times, where we try to do things on our own because we don't understand. So today I want to tell you 3 things you should do when you don't understand what God is doing. Those 3 things are: trust, wait, and listen. Let's go. Now, don't come at me. I know this is such obvious things. Those 3 things, you can know them without even thinking about it. But as I've said many times, it's those obvious things that people often forget. And trust, wait, and listen. I think I've done them in different shows, like I've done them separately, and I want to bring them together. I'm going to share waiting. I did a series. It was a 2-episode series. It was waiting, the hardest part of life, part 1 and part 2, and it's really good. I just encourage everybody to go watch that one, so I'll link that in the eye. It should pop up now if I remember to put it. Anyways, as I said, these 3 things, if you can do them when you're in a state of uncertainty, it will be easy to go through. But trust me, anybody who's been through this state of uncertainty where you're like, what is going on? Why am I going through this? What's taking God so long? Yeah, that is a tough place to be. Trust. I am only 14, almost 14, but I already know what it feels like to not know where you are in life, why you're going through this, or why this is happening, or why this hasn't happened, why God has promised me something, or I know the promises of God over my life, but they just haven't come to pass. You're in a state of why, what, and when. Yeah, and I know that's a tough place. But if you can firstly trust God, trust that even though I don't know what's happening, God knows what's happening, and God is with me. If God is with me, then I can go through this, even if my eyes are closed, even if I can't hear what's going on. If God is with me, who is the starter and finisher of all things, then I'm okay. If I can trust that God can hold my hand, take me through this rocky path, take me through a path where I'm deaf, blind, and I can't even walk. If God is with me, I can do it. If you can have that trust, that's the first step to getting through a stage of uncertainty. That's the first step to getting through that obstacle. And even if it's not an obstacle, even if it's just a place where you're just standing still, if you can trust God, then you'll be okay. When we can trust God in those uncertain, dry, waiting moments, it does please Him. When we can have that faith, it pleases Him. And without that faith, it does displease Him. It says in Hebrews 11:6, but without faith it's impossible to please Him. But he that cometh to God must believe it that He is, and that He is a rewarder of them that diligently seek Him. So firstly, I want to encourage you today that if you're in that state, if you're in that place of, I just don't know what's going on, I want you to trust God. Trust me, you can move mountains if you just have that trust. Moving on to number 2. We are at number 2. So, wait. And before even saying this, I already know that is a tough thing to do. And you'll know if you watch my series, Waiting, the Hardest Part of Life. Waiting is a thing that naturally human beings don't like to do. I think we're practically born impatient. We just want to keep on heading forward in life, unless you're just plain lazy. But like naturally, we just want things to keep happening. We don't want a time where nothing's happening. That reminds me a lot of my brother. You know, he's like a person's like, if something's not happening right now, then it's boring. If people are not talking loudly, if there's no noise, then it's boring. He's a person's like, things need to keep on happening, and in some sense, that's a good thing. But sometimes when you're in a place where maybe, even if it's not a place of uncertainty, it's a place where maybe God has promised you something, we need to wait. And sometimes when we get into that waiting stage, thoughts start coming into our mind where we might be like, oh, maybe God needs help. Maybe there's something I need to do to push this along. Trust me, hon, God does not need help. He does not. This reminds me of Abraham's story when God promised him a child. You know, after a lot of years, at point Abraham was like, maybe I need to do something. Maybe something's not happening because I didn't do something. Maybe I need to be God's hand. No. And then when they gave birth to Ishmael, he was not the promised child. He got a child, but that was not the child God promised him. So I want us to wait for God. Wait for God's time. God has a time. So you gotta wait for it. Waiting. Hardest part of life. And that's why I put it in this order. You cannot wait without trusting God. Trust. Wait. Let's move on to part 3. In times of uncertainty, one thing we do not want to do is listen. We just don't like listening. You know, when you're waiting, I don't want us to be in our own world while we're waiting. I don't want us to shut up every noise just because we're waiting. Because everyone has an appointed time, and I don't want you to miss yours while you're waiting. While you're waiting, I want you to be expectant. I want us to be listening for God's voice. God's telling us what our next move is. When waiting, I want us to listen. Listen to God's voice. Listen to God's directions, His movements. Listen to what God is asking you to do. Listen. When you don't know something, like say you don't know how to bake a cake and then you ask somebody to help you, are you going to really learn how to bake a cake if you're not listening to them? Listen to the one who knows how to do something. Listen to the one who knows what you don't. Listen. I want you to trust God. Trust God enough to wait for God. But while you're waiting, don't forget to listen. Because everyone has an appointed time. Don't miss yours. In conclusion, when we don't understand, don't assume He doesn't understand either. God knows all things. He's only science. God knows all things. God knows the timing for all things. God can see all things. You know, one time I was thinking about it. When we're just down on earth worrying, but God can already see the end, you know, it's almost laughable because He's like, don't worry, calm down. I know the end and I'll lead you through. There's no need for us to fret. There's no need for us to worry. There's no need for us to waste our energy doing something we were not asked to do, doing something we are not needed to do. I want you to trust God. I want you to wait for God, and I want you to listen to God because He knows it all. So when you're uncertain, listen to the one who knows it all. And remember, it's all about Jesus. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you. See you next time.